Yo, what is going on, guys? XpertFusion here, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a list of things that I believe the next Zombies map needs to succeed in order for this map to be good. So, of course, we've heard the leaks, we've heard the rumors. It seems like this next map will likely be a Vietnam map, specifically within a base of some sort, because the leaked name is Firebase Z. We've been hearing about this for a while through various leaks from various sources, primarily the Gaming Revolution. If you guys have ever, heard of his leaks, of course, they're usually reliable for the most part, and I'm completely, trusting the fact that I do think this map will be a Vietnam map, and it makes sense given the fact that this game has, of course, a Vietnam setting already there, so I wouldn't be surprised if they use a lot of assets from those Vietnam missions from the campaign into this Zombies map. A lot of people have even been saying that apparently that base within the second mission of the campaign that we see will probably be the playable location for this next map. That will be the base we will be in. But there's a lot of things I want to see from this map, a ton of things I want to see, because although I really like Cold War Zombies, I think the mechanics are solid, I do think Die Maschine as a whole is a little bland as a map. I don't think it's a bad map, I actually think it's relatively solid, but it's not like top tier quality, if you know what I mean. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I've already made countless videos on that, but today I just want to give off a few different things that I really think this map needs to do in order to make it a top tier map, and I think it has the potential to do that. The first thing I want to bring up is something I talk about in most videos when it comes to zombies, multiplayer, campaign, literally anything. I think this is the most important thing, and that's diversity. What I mean by diversity is simply it has to be very different than what we've had before. I don't want it to be too similar to Die Maschine. I don't want it to be too similar to really any other map. And I think that's why most people don't really love remakes, is because you're not getting that much diversity when you have a map that we've already seen before. To me, it doesn't bother me as much because it's a map we haven't seen in a while. Like, for example, Tagged or Toten, Call of the Dead, last time we saw that was 2010. So it's not that big of a deal when we see remakes, in my opinion. But what I really don't like is, and I'll give a good example, World War II Zombies, which I think is an okay mode. It's one of my least favorites of the zombie modes that we've had, but one of my biggest issues with World War II Zombies is that every map didn't feel that different from one another. Obviously, you had some new things, new bosses here and there, new wonder weapons, but a lot of the stuff kind of stayed the same. They had the same soundtracks for the most part. They had a lot of the same bosses come back again and again. Even some of the wonder weapons keep coming back. The maps themselves had similar color palettes and overall just similar feels and tones. I don't like that. I love stuff like Infinite Warfare, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, where every map was so insanely different. You had completely new locations. Black Ops 2 also did a great job with this, and they need to do that again here. I don't want to see a really bland place again, because Die Maschine to me is a bland place. I think the Dark Ether looks really cool, but when you're just in the map itself, the labs are pretty cool as well, but like Noct and like the whole forest around it, the whole snowy forest, they're just boring to me. I don't really have like that this is an epic location sort of a feel as I do on many other maps. Like, compare that to fighting in a castle in Der Eisendrache, or Shadows of Evil, or Zetsubo on this creepy island, and then you got Grad and the Stalingrad. You have even BO4 maps, like you're fighting in ancient, this Greece place, you're fighting in the Roman Colosseum, you're fighting on the Titanic. So many awesome epic places. And I feel like Die Maschine just didn't really do that for me. And I hope that they give Vietnam, and it's not just a location itself. Just saying it's going to be in Vietnam isn't enough for me. It could be in Vietnam, but it has to be a cool location in Vietnam. We need some cool stuff here. I want to see cool features that set it apart from any other map. I want to see awesome bosses that we've never seen before, that aren't just reusing the same bosses from Die Maschine, because if I load up this map and I see the same exact Plague Hounds, I see the same exact Megaton come back, I will be so disappointed it's not even funny. I don't want to see those things again. Maybe bring them back in a later map, I don't know, but I do not want to see them in this map. I want this map to have its own flavor to it, and therefore it needs its own bosses, it needs its own traps, its own wonder weapons, its own everything, right? Obviously some stuff's going to carry over, like, you bring the ray gun back, you bring the guns in the game itself back. Obviously, you're going to be able to use different operators just like you could on Die Maschine. There's, equipment that's going to come back. I'm sure some of the score streaks will. That's all fine, but you have to make it feel very different in other ways, right? The quest itself, the Easter egg, better be very different as well. Don't make it similar steps that just kind of repeat itself, and we better not end it off jumping on a plane or a helicopter in an exfil the same exact way. Actually, I hope exfil in this game isn't the same at all. I hope they actually kind of make it a little bit different, like maybe have it be a boat that you hop onto or something, or a truck, or some sort of a like longer like duster plane or something. And just make it different. Don't make it the same exact helicopter just like in D Machine. Give it some variety, and I think that would make the map a lot more fun. And the map also just needs a lot of stuff to do. This is a big thing for me because I think Cold War has a lot of things to do outside of D Machine, like when it comes to the menus, like you can get, unlock all the different things with Ethereum crystals, which I did really quickly, but that's still something to do. You can go for Dark Ether, you can go for some of the challenges, but they need more stuff to do, not just in Cold War itself, but also in the map too. I loved Spaceland for the fact that there's so many little things to do other than just the main quest or going for high rounds. That's not enough. High rounds, this zombies has been a thing for like 12 years now. We need to do more than just high rounds and an Easter egg quest. There needs to be a lot of little features, a lot of little things, and even if it's like little like gimmicky things, like I feel like Spaceland's arcade machines, those were kind of gimmicks, but they were fun gimmicks. Do the same thing here. Give us some sort of a puzzle thing we can do. It's Vietnam. I don't know, do all sorts of weird puzzle-like things. Have some vines you can swing on. Have some weird, like, ancient ruins that you can like discover and find these different things inside of them. I don't know, you get a lot of cool stuff in the campaign missions in Vietnam, so do the same thing here. Have some cool traps. The traps weren't really even a thing in D Machine. Have some new score streaks that weren't in D Machine as well, maybe just specifically to this map. Do a lot of that type of stuff. The Wonder Weapon as well, make it a very unique Wonder Weapon that we've never seen before. It's very different, that feels very, its own sort of a thing, but kind of fits the vibe of the map very well. Soundtrack, again, needs to be very different than the D Machine soundtrack. Hopefully it's very, very amazing. I'm sure it will be. Soundtracks are usually pretty solid throughout Call of Duty, and I hope they do the same here. And when we get to the Easter egg itself, make it a longer and more replayable Easter egg, because again, I don't think D Machine's Easter egg is very replayable. I don't think it's very fun. The steps themselves are they're easy, right? But that's not why I don't like it. I don't really care if it's that easy to do. It's a matter of the steps aren't really enjoyable. And then you're not getting to something enjoyable either. It's not like most Easter eggs where you work towards getting to a boss fight, and the boss fight's usually very, very fun. There's no boss fight here. You're just going to this stage where you have to protect the guy from zombies, and that's to me, it's not that fun. It really isn't. I do it because it's just the Easter egg, but I've only done it a couple times. I haven't actually done it in a couple weeks now, and I would like a map that would give me the ability to just want to do the Easter egg again and again and again, like Dreisendrach. I've never want to stop doing that Easter egg because it's such a rewarding quest, because that boss fight is so much fun, and it's so much fun to try to optimize it as much as possible using all sorts of weapons and such. But this Easter egg, I feel like I just go in and it's whatever, you know what I mean? So hopefully they give us an actual boss fight that's actually really, really fun and replayable, and hopefully it has some cool rewards. Maybe it lets us actually play the map after doing the Easter egg rather than just ending the game. I don't know. There's a lot of things I would love for them to do with the Easter egg, and I just want the map to have one thing: replayability. That's huge. Diversity is a big thing, but again, replayability is another big thing. And lastly, this is probably the last thing I'm going to say here, is something in relation to the story. Now, story is something that I don't think matters too much for most players. I'm interested in it and I want to see where it goes, but I think to make the story more interesting for more players, you have to have 4 specific characters as the main crew. They need to do that. I love being able to use any operator I want. I do like that, but they can still have a main 4-person crew while also letting you choose other operators instead. And what would be so great about having a 4-person crew is that they would actually kind of make the storyline feel a little more immersive and a little more integrated, because currently it's really not. You're just playing out these static characters that, yeah, they're from the campaign. Some of them are random that we haven't seen in the campaign, but they're just, there. And some of them are they're just not, they don't have much personality to them. Like, I just don't care. It's not like playing as Richtofen or playing as, all these different characters that you kind of grow to, be attached to. I'm not going to be attached to these operators. I'm just not. I'm attached to them in terms of the campaign story, but this is a different story. So there's really no attachment there. Like, let us play as Samantha, or have Weaver come and have him be a character and bring 2 other people in there. I don't know. Have it just be important people to the story, but have them be the main characters. But let people who don't really care about the story change their operator. And I'd probably do that sometimes. You know, I'd love to play as them when it comes to the first time playing the map. This all has to do with the first-hand experience, because to me, story is not really important after you've played the map a couple times. It's all about your first few experiences to really just feel immersed into the map. And then doing the Easter egg, of course, you're going to feel it more when you're playing as people who actually matter to the story, because these characters don't matter to the story for the most part. So that's just, I'm not a big fan of that, but I've already talked about that before, and I don't feel like they're going to change this. I would like them to, but I feel like every map is probably just going to have your own whatever operators you want to choose. So, and I think the last thing I want to say just really quickly is I hope they also give us survival maps. This is not really based on Vietnam itself, but I want to see, you know, Knocked as a survival map, maybe take this Vietnam map and also cut up a little part of it for another survival map, just to give us more content. As simple as that, you know. I think there's a lot more they could do. Maybe take multiplayer maps already in this game and make them into actual zombies maps, not for Onslaught, and I'll explain why. Simply because A, not everyone gets to play Onslaught, and B, because Onslaught's not like original zombies. It's got its own little, you know, objectives to it. I would prefer just actual full-on zombies where you're just surviving as many rounds as possible. Against zombies, you can pack a punch guns and hit the box. I don't know. I don't know how long these things take to do. I don't know if it'd be that difficult to make that happen. I feel like all you'd have to do is take the map itself, like let's say Pines, for example, the new mall map they added. You add zombie spawns, you add perks, which they already have the models there. So I don't really know how difficult that would be. Again, I'm not a game developer, but I think that would be really awesome, just to give us more content, because zombies right now is lacking content. It's just how it is, honestly. The new Christmas mode has not really given it much more life, and they need to do something. They want to retain zombies for the community, because right now I'll be honest, it's just not there. Like, no one's really playing zombies. You know, Warzone's doing pretty good right now. Multiplayer, I think, is actually doing a lot better, and I'm really enjoying it, but I don't have any reason to play zombies anymore. I played D-Machine to death. And if we're not going to get a map till 2 months from now, like, that's insane. That's not, they need to do something, like, at least for this mid-season update. They need to add something, whether it be Knocked or, yeah, I know they're adding the cranked mode, but is that really going to be enough to hold us over? I don't think so. I really don't. If we had a map like Shadows of Evil, and then you had, like, the Giant for Black Ops 3, it was okay to wait those couple months for a new map, but it's just not going to work like this. It's just not going to work in the scenario we're in, because D-Machine just doesn't have that much replayability to it. It almost feels as bare bones as like a map like Kino in some ways. Obviously, that's a bit of an exaggeration. It's not that bare bones, but you get what I mean. Actually, I'd probably compare it more to like Ascension, where it's got a very simple Easter egg, but I don't know. It is what it is. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.